guys, welcome to Facebook Live at the Houston Zoo. My name is Miriam and I'm one of our primate keepers here at the zoo, inviting you guys to join us in celebrating Peter Rabbit's, of course he runs away, his first birthday this Saturday, April 10th. Peter turns 1 year old. So if you haven't followed Peter's story with us here at the Houston Zoo, Peter was born Easter weekend. We came in and his mom Najiri, who's in the back walking around, was holding on to an infant Peter, newborn Peter, but he was having trouble gripping onto mom and she was having trouble holding him up. So after a little bit, our amazing vet staff went in and checked them both out, and we actually discovered that Peter had a head injury. So we made the tough call to hand rear Peter, which meant around the clock care from multiple different departments, animal departments. Also we had people in membership. We had registrars that were helped us raise Peter because he needed people there 24/7. And then I believe it was July is when Peter actually went back with his mom Najiri. When he was big enough and strong enough, he moved up to bigger and bigger rooms and was spending more and more time by himself. And then it was an introduction and Najiri ran over immediately, grabbed Peter, and hasn't really put him down since. She actually still carries him out onto exhibit when they come out every day. She'll grab onto him and get him out because she wants to go and she's not waiting on him. And she also thought we did a very bad job keeping him clean because she spent the first 2 days just grooming him and he just slept because he loved having that touch. And now he's out here with his mom Najiri and his dad Kabali. And you'll see Peter, who loves people, is so curious, is about 2 kilograms now and has hit every single mark that we want to see in growth and development in an infant red-tailed guenon. And then Kabali, you see his dad in the back, is a lot bigger. Kabali's actually 8 kilograms, so Peter's got a lot of growing to do still. And then his mom Najiri, who he's running back to, I think, is back there grooming, and Najiri tends to be about 4.5 kilograms. So if you multiply that by about 2.2, that's what you get in pounds. We just weigh in those kilograms, so that's what I have on the top of my head. And red-tailed guenons like Peter are named for that long red tail they have. It can grow up to 35 inches long. Peter's still has a lot to growing to do, but it helps him balance when he climbs around all over the place, and he is everywhere. Whether it's up the mesh, whether it's across the ropes, he lives up to the name Peter Rabbit because he bounces. He really bounces everywhere and is so curious and exploring. He's actually starting to learn some training behaviors with us, and offering his hand and targeting and stationing, which are behaviors that we work with our animals here at the zoo to help them become involved in their own medical care, to engage their mind, to be able to look over on them and make sure they're staying healthy. And Peter's starting to learn to do that. And so because this is Houston, we did choose the theme of space for his birthday. Thankfully, we have some much more creative and artistic zookeepers than me. And so we have a banner, we're making some paper mache planets, and hopefully Peter will enjoy all of those. And I think he will, because anything new to him is very fun because he is just as curious and inquisitive as he looks. And still learning from his mom and his dad about how to groom, how to climb, how to jump, what tastes good, what doesn't taste good. But most foods Peter does love to eat. His favorites are any of the fruits he gets, like bananas, blueberries, apples, pears, oranges. He does really like his peas and green beans, eats his broccoli very well, just very slowly. And Peter, like other red-tailed guenons, has cheek pouches. So if he gets lots of food, he'll actually eat it and store some of it in his cheek pouches to chew on later so that he doesn't lose it or drop it anywhere. They also get lettuce and biscuits every day, and the biscuits are going to have a lot of those core nutrients that he needs. And he actually gets a special kind for growing and getting older called growth and reproduction, which he absolutely loves and will just shove in his cheeks, and it's very adorable to see him all full with those. And his mom also tries to get them as well. And Peter is a red-tailed guenon, as I've said. So how you can save animals like Peter in the wild is reducing and reusing your plastic items and your paper items. So if you are buying things like printer paper, toilet paper, paper towels, paper goods for your home, first of all, try to buy less of those, and it's going to help preserve the habitats that red-tailed guenons like Peter live in. But also, if you are purchasing them, look for items that actually contain recycled paper content, because that's going to reduce the amount of items, that the amount of trees that need to actually be cut down from their habitats. Also, the same goes with plastic. We always want to reduce that plastic that we're using and we're consuming, and that's also going to protect and keep their habitats nice and clean. But also, just by coming to the Houston Zoo, you are helping save monkeys like Peter Rabbit in the wild, because you're helping us support our awesome conservation partners who work to protect these animals in these habitats that they're found in. So if you guys have any questions on Peter Rabbit, please let us know, but also please, come and join us on Saturday to celebrate Peter and watch him bounce all over the place and be just, more than a little crazy, because he is a 1-year-old and it's exactly what you expect. And he is curious about everything. You are just bouncing, bud. And Peter is, as he is, I need the gloves. As he has learned, there's his mom coming up. Oh, hi, Kabali. You get a good view of Kabali up nice and close. Kabali is actually very good with Peter and is very gentle with him, very curious, doesn't mind when Peter pulls on his tail or plays around him. And Peter thinks his dad is very cool and actually does try to come and sit near him as often as possible. So when we do their feedings, we try to keep Kabali a little separate so that Peter and Najiri can get their food, because he's a very dominant male. But Peter sometimes comes over and just sits by his dad just to see what he's doing. So it's, he's got to learn how to be a big tough guy like his dad. But Kabali does have that gentle side with Peter and with us. And when he's very gentle, when he offers us things like his hand during training, when he's with Najiri and she's grooming him, he'll just lay there and enjoy, and he'll reciprocate and groom her back. And obviously Peter enjoys all of the grooming possible, because that way he gets all of those wonderful touches from his mom, which is really important in keeping and developing those social bonds. So Peter's learning how to do that with his mom and with his dad, and he's learning kind of how to be a monkey. And so we have a question about what his favorite food is, and I think Peter's favorite food is probably the dried fig or dried currants he gets when he trains. And those are really extra special treats that we give our animals when we train them, as something we call reinforcement. So when we ask for a behavior and they offer it, we reinforce that behavior with that. But if it's his fruits and stuff that he gets, I think the peas are probably one of his favorite vegetables, and I think banana is his favorite fruit, because, he is a monkey, and it's very true. But like I said, when Peter was hand-reared for those first couple, 3 or 4 months, we had people from all over the zoo helping us out. And so it was really great to see such a connection and such a team effort to take care of these guys, because it is a lot of work that Najiri and the moms like her put into that. And Najiri was involved in the whole process. She got to see Peter and make sure, keep that visual contact. And she knew that was her baby. So the day that they were put together, she ran over to him. And then when they were introduced to Kabali, he was pretty chill. He just went out, he saw them, he knew them, and he actually just went over to Najiri and just started grooming. So they're a happy little family group, been doing really well. And Peter getting into all sorts of trouble, and Najiri trying to keep him out of it, but you can only do so much with kids like this. And you can see Peter actually now has all of those markings and colorations that he would have as an adult. When he was younger, he didn't have those big mutton chops and his big, that heart-shaped white nose, which is very characteristic of these guys. They'll actually greet each other kind of by touching their noses together. When Peter started developing those colorations, we knew he was, starting to grow up and starting to get bigger, but still stays with his mom all the time, still gets carried around by her, still gets told what he's not supposed to do, which you might hear him chatting a little bit with us, making all these vocalizations, and he'll get very grumpy when his mom picks him up and he's not ready to go somewhere, but she is. But he's just along for the ride. He's showing off that red tail very nicely. And his mom is climbing around and foraging through some of the grapevine that grows on top of our exhibit. Bless you, Peter. Because you're just jumping around crazy. Now, as Peter gets older, he would actually stay with his family group till he's about 4 years old. in the wild before he would actually disperse and find, you know, his own family group. And that 4 years old is about how old Kabali was when he came to us. So Kabali is actually going to stay with his mom until it's recommended that he goes potentially somewhere else or gets a girlfriend of his own. So he still has a lot of growing to do and a lot of learning to do. So we're asking how many primates are in this group, and it is 3 individual red-tailed guenons. We have Mom Najeri, Dad Kabali, and little Peter Rabbit. We do also have 3 other red-tailed guenons, which are Bongo, Nagano, and Jack. Jack is actually Peter's half-brother. Bongo is Jack's grandmother, and Nagano is his mom. And then we have 3 Allen swamp monkeys that also use this exhibit, and those are Naku, Calvin, and Pepper. And those guys will go with our other red-tailed guenon group, but not so much with these guys because it's especially hard because of the 2 full-grown adult males don't always get along. So we do actually what's best for them, and they rotate through the exhibit and inside, and they have lots to do. Peter and Najeri and Kabali actually have, I think they already played with ate all their enrichment today, but they had things like half coconuts that have smears in them. Peter loves any sort of toy that he can throw around and bounce on. Things like, you know, balls. He gets juice tubs that have things like sugar-free Kool-Aid in there. So different things to taste, different toys to play with. Things like paper towel streamers, so there's something visual. And when he has those, he loves to hang on those and jump on those. They love their forage piles. So if we use things like beta chips and oh, good jump, buddy, and pine shavings, and they love to dig through those and find any special treats that might be in there that we've hidden. Even just things like their biscuits that we'll put in there, or things like currants or bird seed. There's special foods that they get in limited quantities just to kind of encourage them to have those foraging behaviors or used for training, because they're very smart animals and they're always learning. And we actually will train them to participate in their own medical care for things like presenting body parts to check out, or for hand injection if they need any sort of medication that way. And Peter is curious about all of it, so he's learning those things slowly, because sometimes it's just hard to get him to slow down enough to actually participate. But he loves to watch what his mom does so that he can learn from her. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I was so excited to let you guys know how Peter is doing and how he has grown in the last year when you've been following his journey. You can join us this Saturday, April 10th, for Peter's birthday party. He will be out here with his mom and dad. And then keep an eye on our Facebook page, so we'll have a Facebook Live next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great one.